So I was going in the rumble strip earlier, and then it kind of went off the road a bit, and I don't feel safe.
With yourself?
Yeah.
You don't trust yourself?
Yeah.
Is it true all the time or just lately?
I was a well-trained child.
Esther was too. When you get such wonderful results from pleasing, and you like those wonderful results, then you sometimes care about others' response to you more than you care about your own alignment. And that's sort of kind of normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now, do you find yourself incapable of doing something different, or do you still just incessantly care what others think? Because in either case, it's all right. If you incessantly care what others think, they'll just disappoint you over and over and over until you'll finally break yourself of the habit of needing them to understand you, because they can't possibly understand you in the way that you do. So, do you think that's a pretty strong statement, I don't trust myself? Or would a more accurate statement be, I'm just learning to care about how I feel, and I'm getting better at it?
Yeah, I think it's that.
It is that. And feel how much more productive that statement is than that I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty dramatic.
It is. It is.
And not that accurate.
Right.
So now, just feel the difference between how those two statements feel. Mm-hmm. I don't feel safe. I don't trust other people. And I'm getting better at finding my alignment regardless of what they think.
Yeah.
Try these two statements. I can't get them to understand. It doesn't matter if they don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Try these statements. I can find alignment with my source. It's hard to find alignment with other people. Try these two statements. It's easier and easier to find alignment with source. It's hard to find alignment with source. You just keep honing in on it until you gain confidence. And the nice thing is that every time your vibration shifts just a little bit, so do your experiences.
Right.
What's happening around you shifts too, as evidence of the vibrational shifting that's taking place. So now, as we're this far into the conversation, now focus again on that earlier statement, I don't feel safe, and feel how out of whack that is. Mm-hmm. That doesn't even feel like a statement that would be normal for you to say now, does it?
No.
In just that much time. What else?
I feel like a lot of folks, I'm sure here, I get into the practice of, the morning stuff, getting up, going for a walk, getting in alignment, feeling really good energetically, and I have a hard time keeping it up. It's
all right. Let that feeling of alignment be the natural, flexible thing that it is. Yeah. Let it move from being interested in something, or it could even be awareness of a situation that needs some attention. Don't think that alignment means bouncing off the walls with a big happy grin on your face, spewing rainbow dust everywhere you go. In other words, let it just be that feeling of being happy to be alive and being interested in what's coming next. Alignment can feel like, I'm doing a good job of this. Alignment can feel like, oh, I think I would like to do this. Alignment has lots of latitude and flexibility in it. Don't let someone else's presentation of alignment be some standard that you're trying to live up to.
Yeah, it's just so interesting as you're saying this. I'm just realizing that literally my whole life I didn't think it was okay to want what I even wanted. So that whole epiphany now of coming into this space of recognizing that I can actually want and desire and shoot these rockets that I did have as a little girl.
Well, we can help you with this a little bit. You're going to really like this. And it comes back to, am I in the receptive mode from worrying about something, or am I in the receptive mode from feeling good about something? Which receptive mode am I in? And so, that feeling, we know you do, but we want to call your attention to it. When an idea of something you want occurs to you, and it just feels for just a moment like elation to you, you feel really eager about it. Now, we know you've experienced that. Well, often when you were younger, you were tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you'd get those feelings. But those were the days when those around you thought that everything that you thought you wanted had to flow through them. And a lot of them were all closed off. They were not feeling invincible. They were not feeling abundant. They were not feeling sure of themselves. Often they were not even feeling happy. And so when you had the nerve to get all tuned in and all full of yourself and all happy about something, and you spewed an energetic statement of something that you want, they just naturally assumed that they were going to have to give it to you, and they had no intention of doing it. And so they began teaching you early on that you don't get to want like that. You see, you just don't get to want like that. But you do get to want like that. You just got to leave those who have never had anything to do with the path through which they come to you out of the equation, you see. And so we know that you have understanding. We know that you are in a different place than you were then. But you don't have to go back and explain ever again why it's not all that easy for you to want. Esther began saying that after Jerry made his transition, because she was a cooperative component primarily. And Jerry would say, what do you think about doing this and this and this morning, and then we'll do this and this and this, and then we'll go here for dinner? And Esther would say, that sounds really good. And when Jerry was not there saying that, Esther thought, what should I do? What do I want for dinner? She'd been eating the other half of what he chose for so many years. She didn't even really know for sure what she wanted to eat, because she'd never really thought about it specifically. She was really happy to eat the other half of what he was choosing. Now, some can call that dysfunctional. Some can call it over-cooperative. Esther called it a blissful life experience. But now she's standing in a place where she needs to decide what she wants to eat, you see. And we know it sounds ridiculous, but you do develop patterns of cooperation. So Jerry and Esther were primarily in tune with each other. And so when Esther was in alignment with her inner being, she was in alignment with Jerry, who was in alignment with his inner being. In other words, she was not overcoming discord all the time. But it is important to note that unless you have defined what you want, then you have no real sense of guidance of whether you are allowing it or not. And when you think about it, since no one else can attract for you, it's very important that you identify what you want. And you know what? That's the thrill of it anyway, isn't it? To have defined what you want and then to watch the universe seemingly magically orchestrate the circumstance and events in order to accommodate you. To watch a convergence where several things that have been important to you happen all in the same sort of period of time. It's exhilarating to realize your power and your invincibility. And so that's what we would be saying if we were standing in your physical shoes, rather than saying, I've spent so many years not even knowing what I wanted or not even allowing myself. Instead, we'd be saying, I'm looking forward to understanding what I want, to defining what I want, to getting into alignment enough that it occurs to me what I want, and then of watching the pattern of unfolding of what I want. In other words, I'm looking forward to coming to own my own sense of empowerment and my own sense of upliftment and my own sense of invincibility and, most of all, my own sense of worthiness. None of you will ever really allow yourself to feel worthy until you have stood on your own and wanted something that others didn't think that you should want, and lining up with it anyway, and then watch the universe knock itself out to give it to you. Because as long as you're just receiving the benefit of what others think that you should have, you don't enhance your sense of worthiness. You enhance your sense of duty. You enhance your sense of cooperation, but you don't enhance your sense of pure worthiness. It isn't until you sort of defy what everybody else thinks and just stand in a place where you know what you want and allow that feeling of desire to come, and then nurture that feeling of desire, and then watch the powerful universe line up in organization to support you in what you want. You come out of situations like that feeling loved and feeling seen and feeling known and feeling heard and feeling worthy, feeling blessed, you see. And that's what you're reaching for. That's what's at the heart of what you're asking here, in every part of what you're asking.
I think the last piece is around that safety as you're talking about it. I have manifested some pretty amazing things in my life and that I really, really wanted, and they happened. And then it was sort of this moment of being like, don't shine too brightly with it, or don't be too excited about it, because somehow something, like I'm kind of looking over my shoulder right now, right? That feeling of the other shoe's going to drop or something like that, and I know that's not right energetically.
Well, that's because your sense of worthiness is not solidly in place.
Right.
And that's because you haven't known until fairly recently that you get to control your vibrational output so that you can have more control over those kinds of things. You can be pretty far along in the game, and people that you loved and trusted could maybe disagree with you or maybe even turn on you, and you might take that more seriously than it really deserves, and it could sort of give you a run for your money for a little while. But ultimately, you'll come back into your alignment of understanding that most of it is most of the time going extremely well. It's such an interesting thing how something can happen to you or in the world that can sort of shake your sense of safety or well-being. And if you focus upon it, then other things start showing up that shake your sense of well-being. And you've just got to begin to notice those patterns. Notice the correlation between how you've been feeling and what's happening. And as you notice those correlations, then and only then can you affect some measure of control about the way you feel. But you can't wait until something's happening and then react to it. That's where your real sense of well-being comes. Because if you are a reactor to things around you, then if something happens that feels threatening and you react in some guarded way, well, you've just enhanced or increased the threat. It's not going to get better, you see. But if you're out ahead of it and you're acknowledging the supreme well-being that surrounds you, then if something happens, and it still that might shake you a little bit, you don't take it as a threat or an assault on you. You can take it as a harmonic component within you. But isn't it a wonderful thing that others around you will help shine lights on the things that you've got going on that are not serving you that well? How else are you going to make a decision to begin to focus differently or to deliberately feel differently? We like the analogy. How many of you got on your bicycle the first day and just rode it off in the way you meant to? None of you. None of you. You had to find your balance. And you don't know what balance is unless there is imbalance. You just don't. You just cannot find balance until you are subjected to imbalance. There's no question which you like more, but this is how you figure it out. This is how you get confident until before you know it, you are doing death-defying things on that bicycle. And your mother's standing on the curb all afraid, wishing that you were still timid.
Yeah.
You see. But we don't wish for you to be timid. We wish for you to be sure-footed, because that's where all the fun is.
Thank you.
Enough?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Very good.